Let's talk about one of the things that keeps you attractive that I think is under discussed and underappreciated. And we're going to be talking today about energy that keeps you attractive because energy can actually keep you attractive and make you more attractive if you know how to improve your energy and then you work on improving your energy. Nobody wants to be ugly. I don't think anybody wants to be ugly. Some people basically let themselves go and kind of just they stop caring about how they look, and that's pretty common. We all know people who have stopped caring about how they look, but I don't know anybody who just wants to be ugly. Okay, so I'm going to be talking to people today who still care about looking their best. If you don't care about how you look anymore, and you know you're comfortable just walking outside looking like any old thing, and you don't want to bother doing any of the things that it takes to look your best on a regular basis, I'm really not talking to you. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm just saying that this message is not for you. This is for you if you're interested in looking your best. And one of the core components of that is the energy that you carry and that you project. So we're going to be talking about energy today. Now, I am Mark Johnson, the founder of Bounce Pep, bringing you a fit and flourishing future. I am also the youngest son of Bill Johnson. I do want you to subscribe. Please go ahead and subscribe. And anytime that we drop a new message, at least you'll get it, and you can choose to watch it. You can choose not to watch it, but at least you'll get it. And of course, it does, just help me grow this channel. So please subscribe. Also, go to www.bouncepep.com. Scroll down towards the bottom of the homepage and just subscribe to our email list. It's a little bit more effort to do that. I know you have to go ahead and type in the URL and go to the website and put in your email address or whatever. But it's not that much work. So join our email list, please. And with all that said, let's jump into it. So, there are, in my opinion, two major components of attractiveness. I think people tend to focus on appearance because it's perhaps the most obvious element of attractiveness. But I think that another major component is energy, and it's a little bit less appreciated, and people tend not to put as much focus and effort into improving their energy as they do into just improving their physical appearance. So, because energy is so important, especially the older you get, like the older you get, energy becomes like really, really important. And um, the better your energy is, the older you get, the more it's going to stand out compared to your peers. Because if you think about it, as we get a little bit older, a lot of times, if you just look around at look at your coworkers or look at some of your friends and family, you'll see them just accept uh, getting older and less attractive and maybe less energetic as just a natural part of the aging process. And to some extent, that's actually true. But, here at Bounce Pep, we do believe that you don't have to just let things happen. You don't just have to let nature take its course, especially if it's taking you on a course that is going to reduce your quality of life. So there are things that, we can all work on even as we're aging to ensure that we don't age prematurely, certainly that we don't get ugly, and certainly that we have, again, a fit and flourishing future. You want to have a fit and flourishing future. Even if you're still getting older, you want a fit and flourishing future. So let's talk about that energy because it's so important. Now, as I said, appearance is one thing. There are a lot of things you can do to improve your physical appearance. We're not going to talk about that today. We're talking about energy, and there are really two broad categories of energy that I want to point out to you. So the first one is physical energy, okay? And there are four parts of physical energy that I think you need to know about. So the first one is just mobility, all right? Um, Mobility is your literally your ability to move easily, to go where you want to, when you want to, with ease, no problem. Mobility. Okay. So when you have mobility, physical mobility, it means that you move easily, you move fluidly, and yes, you're going to look more attractive because of it. Like it will improve your attractiveness. People who move well basically just look better than people who are kind of rickety and creaky. It's just the way it is. So the more mobile you are and the more fluid you move, the more attractive you're going to be. Okay, so the number two physical energy that I want to talk about is speed. Um, this is kind of obvious, but when you are someone who just generally moves slowly, it doesn't look very nice. Okay, it does not make you more attractive. So if you can maintain, kind of speed of movement. Now, speed of movement doesn't mean rushing, because rushing is obviously not attractive either. But just if you can, I mentioned it briefly when I was talking about mobility, but this idea of kind of fluidity, right? Part of fluidity is a certain speed as well, right? If it's too slow, it's not fluid. If it's too fast, it's not fluid either, right? But you want to have a nice speed of movement, right? Where not things don't look like you don't look like you're rushing just out of control all the time, but you don't look slow either, right? You don't look slow and weary and worn down. Okay. So the third part of your physical energy is going to be your strength. So this is just literally how strong you are. It's very, very attractive when you are able to lift something heavy. Okay. And especially, again, like I said, if you're getting older and you're watching your peers and your friends and your family just getting weaker and really not caring, not doing anything about it, but you're still maintaining your strength, and you can still lift those heavy boxes easily. And you can, if there's some kind of a physical challenge that you need to take on, you have the confidence to do it. And other people actually, know as well that you're physically robust, then it's going to be very, very, it's going to improve how attractive you are. It really is going to improve how attractive you are. So that strength, I want you to maintain that strength and build strength. Okay. You can build strength. Number four is stamina. Stamina, quite simply, is your ability to exert yourself. This is really physical and mental, but especially physically. I think that's the most obvious when people think of stamina. But your ability to exert yourself for a period of time without tiring out so easily. So your ability to be comfortable being active for a stretch of time without getting tired and needing to sit down and take a rest, take a load off. And you see this a lot of times with people who don't walk very much. People who don't walk very much, and in fact, in the United States, this is a huge problem because, now I live in Japan, but I'm from the United States originally. And, obviously being from the US, I know that the US is very automobile centric, and a lot of people don't walk very much. I'm just being honest with you. People don't walk very much. They're driving cars a lot. And because people are not accustomed to walking, I found that people from the USA tend to get tired out just walking very quickly. And it just blows my mind. Like, people will walk for 10 minutes and be huffing and puffing. And I'm like, how can this be? It's like walking is your default mode of transportation, and you should be able to do it for more than 10 or 15 minutes without feeling just beat. Okay. So you want to have stamina. Stamina makes you more attractive. Anytime you see somebody who can't maintain physical activity for very long without getting worn out and beat down, it doesn't look very nice, does it? It's not the most attractive version of that person, is it? So make sure that you maintain good stamina. This is why I tell you, go to the gym. These are physical energies, remember? So go to the gym and work out and improve all of these physical energies. Stamina, again, you can improve stamina simply by going outside and taking walks. I mean, it doesn't get any simpler than that. So walk more, go to the gym, do some exercises. So I told you that there were two broad categories of energy, right? The first one was physical energy. We just talked about that. Let's talk about the second one. I call it interactional energy. Now, this is probably not something that you have or that you would think to call it, but that's just what I call it. And basically, what it is you can think of it as kind of interpersonal energy. The energy that you project when you're interacting directly with other people. Okay, so interactional energy. And again, there are four types that I want to talk to you about today. So the first one is your sharpness. Another word would be maybe lucidity. So this is your mental sharpness. And when you are interacting with someone and you are mentally sharp, they're going to pick up on it. Have you ever talked to somebody and just you picked up very, very quickly that they were kind of slow? Not trying to insult anybody, but we've all talked to someone who is just kind of slow. And we didn't just blurt out, hey, you're slow. But we certainly thought, we certainly perceived and we thought, oh, this person is a little bit slow, right? It doesn't make them more attractive. So you can improve your mental sharpness by doing some simple things like reading, okay? Reading. I know reading is going out of vogue because we live in a soundbite culture and we live in this social media culture now where everybody is trying to get everything in little bitty clips. And no one, it seems, there are still academics and there are still people who are genuinely interested in acquiring a deep understanding of things. But honestly, a lot of the information that people get now comes in sound bites and it comes in snippets, and people are dumber than they realize they are. A lot of people think they know a lot more than they actually do, and it's because they're getting these snippets of information instead of real insight, and they're not reading, they're not going deep in learning and keeping their mind sharp. Okay, one of the ways you keep your mind sharp is to always be reading something, because when you're reading, you've always got the possibility of learning something new and opening up new neural pathways in your brain. All right, so you always want to be reading, expanding your horizons. Don't just read things you already agree with. Sometimes you have to pick up stuff, pick up a book that is maybe at first glance you say, I don't know if I'm going to agree with this, but you read it anyway because it's a good idea to get that other side or those other sides. A lot of times there's more than two sides, right? But get those other sides, get those other viewpoints so that you can assimilate different information and keep your mind sharp, right? Okay, and be a critical thinker. All right, so this is one way that you can increase your mental sharpness. Now, the other thing that you can do to increase your mental sharpness again is go and work out. Going to work out will literally make you more alert. I don't take my word for it. If you don't currently go and work out, go to the gym and start lifting some heavy weights. And I guarantee you, when you get that heavy weight up above your chest, you're doing a bench press or something, and it's heavy, and you bring it down and you got to push it up. Oh, believe me, you're going to be alert. You're not going to be thinking about the fact that you're getting divorced next week. You're not going to be thinking about what's for dinner tonight. The only thing you're going to be focused on lifting that bar back up so you don't kill yourself. Okay, so make sure that you are working out because that's going to improve your mental alertness and your mental sharpness, undoubtedly. Okay, number two, the next interactional energy that I want to talk to you about is accessibility. So accessibility is basically how open you are or how approachable you are. Now, understand that some of us are more or less approachable. There's not really a right or a wrong. Okay, some people are how do we say, somewhat standoffish. In fact, I can be that way. I can be somewhat standoffish to people that I don't know very well, and that's because I usually prefer to get a feel for people, understand where they're coming from before I do like a whole bunch of opening up myself. But some people are not like me, right? You may not be like me. You may be someone who is immediately more of an open book towards people that you don't necessarily know very well. And I'm not saying that there's a right or a wrong. It's just to say that your accessibility is a type of an energy that people can feel. Okay, so wherever you are on that scale of accessibility, in terms of how open you are, and then the boundaries that you set with people, it's fine. But just understand where you are and understand if you need to make adjustments in order to make yourself a little bit more appealing and a little bit nicer to be around. Because sometimes, like me, I know that being standoffish doesn't always work to my advantage, right? That can work. That can be a disadvantage, but you know, it can also be an advantage, right? You don't necessarily have to show all your cards up front, okay? But just understand where you are kind of on that accessibility scale, and then you can always make adjustments. Your personality is kind of hard to change, um, but you can always get better. You can always try to become a better person, right? Okay, and you can always make little tweaks here and there to become a more appealing person, a more attractive person. Okay, so the number three interactional energy is attentiveness. Okay, and think about this. This one is so important. Attentiveness. Um, when you are interacting with people, are you paying attention to them? Um, are you focused in? Are you locked in on what they're trying to communicate? Are you listening? You know, are you really getting them? Are you really trying to understand them? Doesn't necessarily mean that you agree, but are you attentive? Okay. So when you're attentive, this attracts people. It just does. When you are not attentive, it's a turnoff, and it's going to make you less attractive. Now, if you're just not attentive on purpose, that's one thing. Sometimes you don't want to be bothered with someone, and so you're trying to basically reduce your attractiveness. Okay, but we're talking about things that energies that keep you attractive or can make you more attractive, right? So if you want to improve your attentiveness, that's something that you can do simply by being aware of whether or not you are properly attentive to people when you are interacting with them. Are you looking all around in different directions when somebody is standing right in front of you talking to you? Do you make eye contact? Not like weird, uh, you know, kind of creepy contact, but just healthy eye contact that signals to the other person that you are listening and that you are understanding to the best of your ability what they're saying. You're following them and you're interested in what they're talking about, right? That's attentiveness, and that can make you attractive. And finally, I want to talk to you about the fourth interactional energy, and that is your tone of voice. Okay, now you can probably hear me. I sometimes my voice, go high, and then sometimes it'll come back down and go low. But obviously, the tone of voice that you speak with when you're interacting with people can be very, very attractive, or it can be a put off. Okay, this again is something that you can work on. You can work on your tone of voice. A lot of it comes down to just self awareness and impulse control. Sometimes, some of us are quick to anger. I used to have like a, a, a hair trigger, anger impulse, right? And I had to get that under control. I learned through time that I had to get that under control because it was working against me, right? Okay, and it would affect my tone of voice, and people could pick up on the fact that I was upset or I wasn't happy, and it didn't do me any favors, right? So I had to learn to get that under control. So your tone of voice is very, very important in terms of your interactional energy and how people are going to receive you, and ultimately how attractive, how magnetic you're going to be to other people. Okay, so this is what I wanted to talk to you today about. When you're talking about being the most attractive person that you can, the most attractive version of yourself that you can be, then you can't only look at the physical or the what do we say, the appearance aspects of it. You have to look at the energy aspects of it as well, and uh, pour time and pour uh, resources into improving your energy. Okay, because that's also going to make you more attractive. So that is my message for you today. Okay, I want you to go to the homepage, www.bouncepep.com. Check out the Passion and Purpose Project. Okay? I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to talk to you next time. Once you take this with you, take the heart.